Hey everybody, welcome to Horribly Hot Topic. Oh, fuck. I mean, Horribly Off Topic. That's the name of the show. I'm Steve.
I'm Chris.
And we're here with you every week on your commute or at your desk or wherever the fuck, on the toilet.
On the toilet while you're jerking it.
What?
I mean, somebody could.
And your amazing experience with jerking off.
Well, you're saying that I don't know. I said I never jerked off in my bedroom at home.
Did you jerk off in the bathroom at your home?
I did not jerk off in the bathroom at home.
Like, I'm talking about your parents' house.
No, my parents' house, no.
Okay,
Never done
where did you jerk off?
Oh, in my college dorm room, plenty.
No, but at home.
I didn't. I respected the sanctity of my parents' home.
When you're like 14 to 17 year old.
You're trying to get me to admit something here.
Yes.
But if I admit something here, then aren't we breaking one of the bits of the show, which is that I never masturbated in my parents' house? I mean, that's a fairly recent bit.
That's not a bit.
Given that we're at episode 29.
Yes.
That is a fairly recent bit in the history of the show, but you're saying it's not a bit.
It's not a bit. Is it a bit? Is this a bit with you?
Is it a bit? I don't know.
Is this just like, you're just like, oh, I don't jerk off at my parents' house?
I don't.
Okay.
At least
your
not,
kids are
not
gone.
anymore.
Your wife is gone. Do you jerk off here ever?
Do I jerk off here? In this house
yes.
where we're at?
Yes.
Okay. To be clear, we're not at your place because we've recorded at your place a whole bunch. I've never jerked off at your place.
It would be really weird if you were moving furniture around my place. Oh wait, we didn't talk about that.
We didn't talk about that.
That was just in the test.
That was in the test.
I'm bringing it up again.
You're bringing it up again. Yes. So there's a giant
fire hazard.
There's a giant bookcase behind me.
I'm going to get OSHA down here and say, hey, this is unsafe podcasting conditions.
And there's a bookcase behind me that I moved into the doorway to the kitchen because the refrigerator was making a lot of noise, which you still might be able to hear despite the bookcase. I wanted to try and deaden the noise of the refrigerator.
So you wouldn't have to do less post stuff to make it...
I don't do any post stuff. What are you talking about? I do a lot of show notes. I have a setting, and I keep meaning to get better at the post production. At any rate, I care about our listeners' eardrums.
I don't, because I keep on talking.
Aw.
Okay, so
do I jerk off here in my house?
Yes.
That's an interesting question.
It is.
It is an interesting question.
I know for a fact you're not doing it right now.
I am not doing it right now.
Which is awesome.
Because you can see both my hands.
I appreciate it.
Now, if both my hands disappeared...
That would be really weird and creepy. And the fact that you're staring at me makes it worse.
All right, so do I jerk off in the house? No.
Never. Never since living here... Have you jerked off?
10 years or 10, 11, almost 11 years.
I jerked off like twice since I got here.
All right. I am ready.
That was from the 40-year-old virgin. I didn't actually do that.
Okay. Well, you were. Did you? No, you didn't use the bathroom.
No.
Okay. I was going to say. Because my kids were around.
I wasn't fucking jerking off. It was a joke for asshole's sake. Oh, by the way, when I first got here, because we just got through with Blizzard Part 4 up here in New England.
Yes.
And I got here, and they were doing some clearing of parking spots and whatnot, so I had to, drive around a bit. Yeah. And so, I kind of couldn't find a place, then I kind of went out, and then I couldn't turn around, and it was a big mess, and I finally got back. And then there was this cunt woman, and I don't take...
You don't use that word lightly.
I do not. And she kept on driving forward. And I'm like, what do you want me to do, lady?
Yeah.
And so I backed up. She didn't give me a wave. She just stared forward like the cunt that she was. If I ever see her again, I'm screaming cunt at her.
Okay.
That is a person that deserves the word cunt.
The British don't think as much of the word. I mean, it's a completely different thing.
It's not as bad.
It's not
a great word.
It's not a great word. Well, they can say it affectionately to each other. You can't. I don't think in America you can say, stop being a cunt to anybody.
I think you can, depending on the group.
Yeah, depending on the group. But generally speaking, even if you say it, you're kind of aware that
it's a naughty word.
It's a naughty word. Whereas the British probably don't think twice about it.
Is that me?
Yeah, it might have been. I don't know. Mine's in the
I did my taxes yesterday.
You did your taxes?
Yeah.
I have not done my taxes. My taxes are going to be infinitely more complicated this year because I run a little business and.
Because you're making from the Patreon or whatever.
For Patreon, and last year I did my play, and of course the Players Ring paid me the lump sum, which then I had to distribute to the actors. So there's lots of that. I mean,
couldn't Players Ring just pay the people so they can do the taxes?
I don't know. I think in the past they have. I know that I've gotten a check from them as an individual actor, but I think for the sake of simplifying their own taxes,
let's make everybody else's.
They've got like 20. Something like 20-something productions a year, assuming that each of those is a different company.
So basically, they just deal it out to the directors.
Or to the producer, their production company, because they basically split the profits. And I forget what the percentage is now. It's a pretty favorable percentage towards the person producing the whole show, and then they keep part of it to keep the lights on. But for their own tax sake, I think they started just sending out the one check and letting the production company deal.
Well, mine was a pain in the ass because for part of the year I lived in New Hampshire and worked in New Hampshire. And part of the year I lived in New Hampshire and worked in Massachusetts. And part of the year I lived in Massachusetts and worked in Massachusetts. Those three things combined.
Well, so your federal wasn't bad, but your Massachusetts return was a pain in the ass.
Yeah, my Massachusetts return was a pain in the ass. And basically, the amount it cost me to get the tax preparer to do so made it so my Massachusetts state return went away.
Now, you paid a preparer?
Yes.
See, I've never paid a preparer. I think about it every once in a while, but I eventually just sit down and do it myself. We'll see how bad it is this year. I always have to do the Massachusetts return because my main job is in Massachusetts, but I have to do a non-resident.
Yes. Which was part of my return.
Yeah. But I've seen the calculations that you have to do. Like, there's the non-resident / part resident. It's the same return, but like if you're non-resident and also I can't even. It's good that you paid a preparer.
Because I was she when I went there initially on Thursday.
Yeah.
After work, and then she was like, "This is a mess. Can you come back on Saturday?"
Yeah, I mean, it's yeah. I have looked at the percentages and the calculations and stuff, and I'm just glad I don't have to do it. That I live in New Hampshire, work in Massachusetts. I mean, it's a pain, but it's easier than what you had to deal with.
Yes, but I got a decent federal return, which is okay.
I mean, we're gonna get dinged on the federal return because we didn't have health insurance, but it's gonna cost us less than it would have cost us for health insurance.
Yeah.
So, and that's my philosophy.
I think next year it'll probably be worse.
It's definitely worse. It goes up a lot this year, and then it continues to keep going up a lot. But when you factor in that it would cost us, $700 something a month. For the family to be insured, which is in entirety. Steph only gets paid twice a month. It would basically wipe out one of those paychecks. I get paid once a month. Yeah, I mean, it's not worth it.
If you lived in Massachusetts, you might have an easier time finding an option that you could afford.
I mean, there's the healthcare marketplace that the Affordable Healthcare Act.
No, I'm talking about Mass Health. Like New Hampshire doesn't have that.
So the Mass Health one is better, you think?
Well, I think Mass Health is something that you would qualify for. I mean, I don't know why we're talking about this on the podcast, but
well, you brought up your taxes.
I was just because you are a family.
We are a family,
and I mean, if you're under certain income thresholds and you have two dependent children, I think this is something that
you would
think worth looking into.
So I mean, the kids are covered.
So all you have to do is just move to Massachusetts and then look into Mass Health.
The kids are covered under. I should clarify for those people who are worried and sending emails. The kids are covered through New Hampshire Healthy Kids, which is Medicare or Medicaid or whatever. And back when Steph was pregnant and when Melody was a baby, we also did that. And there was a very brief time within the kids' lifetimes that we were covered, but we really haven't been covered. with the exception of right around the time we were pregnant with Melody, and right around the time we were pregnant with Kaylee. So almost 10 years we've been.
You guys have life insurance?
No.
All right, let's change the subject.
Yeah. No, I mean we're fucked. We have virtually no retirement, and we have $25,000-$30,000 in credit card debt. Anyone want to know how well life is going here?
So if you want to contribute to the podcast,
I did put a link, and only last week, as I promised, I put a link into the show notes for the episode to contribute to the podcast. But what I didn't realize until I published it out was that link, when you looked at it in your podcast reader, was not a link at all. It just said give $$ to hot or whatever. And somebody might have been like, oh, I'd love to do that. And they go to tap it. It's not a link because of the way that my webpage built it. So I have to work on that.
Okay.
So
there's going to be a way for you guys to donate to us that way.
Yeah, I mean, people
help Chris get out of mountains of debt.
Yeah, people have always been able to donate to my Patreon, but if I'm going to do one
donate
to
his freaking Patreon.
If they're going to donate to the show, they should donate to the show. That's
whatever. Either I don't care.
At any rate, how did we get to talking about that? Somehow.
All right.
So yeah, we're in Blizzard Part 4. Is that the last thing we talked about before we got on like
horribly off topic on financials? So yeah, I'm sick of the fucking snow.
I'm sick of the fucking snow. I was having a meltdown yesterday. I feel like I can't escape.
A meltdown? How can you melt down with all this cold weather?
Oh! I wonder how that worked on the mic.
It was probably terrible.
Probably bad. I was in such a bad way yesterday in terms of, I don't know if it's seasonal affective disorder or if it's just my own depression and anxiety from other things. But I tweeted, Facebooked yesterday that I was wondering if somebody could just bring me a bedpan because I didn't even want to get out of bed. I was that depressed. I was just like, I don't want to get out of bed to pee.
I cleaned my apartment yesterday.
Our house, as you can tell, is not. I'm glad that you cleaned. I guess we're cleaning. I don't know. We're downsizing. We're paring down. Yes. So you cleaned.
Yes.
Did it make you feel any better?
I tidied up. It was getting a little I want to say rank, but it was just a little dusty, a little whatever else. So I cleaned up.
Yeah.
Did the floors because they were getting all salty.
What is the worst thing about the snow for you then? I mean, you just being stuck inside.
I think I get a little stir crazy,
and
considering the amount of space I have in my apartment.
Yeah, you don't have
I can't just go I'll just go to the second floor of my home.
Yeah.
Nope, I am here in this one room,
right,
or in the kitchen, or in the bathroom.
Yeah. Well, you could go into the bathroom and jerk off.
I can do that in my living room or bedroom, whatever the fuck you want to call it.
Yes, you can do that in there, but for a change of scenery, you could go into the bathroom.
What, and just stare at the fucking...
I know. I've always wondered, why jerk off in the bathroom? If you have no other option. I think Louis C.K. had a bit about it because it was okay, I have daughters and I don't want them to see me jerk off. Right. Yeah.
So I go into the bathroom to do it.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. I don't know. I could imagine that if I was the type of person that jerked off, I wouldn't jerk off in the bathroom.
Why does this always keep on coming up? I didn't bring it up this time.
You didn't bring it up. Okay, so you don't have a lot of room to go, but I'm gonna throw something out at you.
Oh, what's that?
Is that part of the reason that I've been stir crazy, even though I have 2 floors of house here, is that because we've been sort of trying to, almost like spring cleaning. I feel almost as if Stephanie is trying to spring clean now because she feels stir crazy. It's her way of doing exactly what you did. But she's been cleaning up and packing up stuff and getting rid of stuff, and every single area of our house is a mess. So there's no place to escape to. And that, I'm not saying it's worse than what you have to deal with, but it almost made me feel worse than if I just had one clean room that I could stay in. And then when I was done, I could go outside and
we could just put that on the floor again, that shelf, and then hide under it.
I could hide under it.
Because even
my office,
Daddy, where are you? I'm under the bookshelf, darling.
That sounds like something that I would do in my depressed state.
And then just like get a fit of rage punch through that back of it. You're like, rah! And the kids will be like, ah!
There was a point at which we had one, probably the twin of this one, because we always used to buy bookcases in like twos. I don't know. Or if we didn't buy them in two that day, we bought another one quickly thereafter. Anyway, the one that was about the same vintage as this one that's behind us, I brought it downstairs, and when I brought it downstairs, I did take a hammer to it, and it made me feel a lot better. I broke the thing into individual pieces so I could toss it in the dumpster down the way. And it did make me feel better. Destroying things, generally speaking, one day I was getting rid of... do you ever have a zip disk when you were in high school or college? Do you know what a zip disk is?
I know what it is, but I don't think I've used it.
So for those of you out there who have no idea what a zip disk is, about the same size as a 3 1/4 floppy, except thicker, and it stored not gigabytes of information. It wasn't that much, but it was way more than a floppy could store. And I had a ton of them from my college days because I worked on the college literary magazine. And the literary magazine, because it had big image files, couldn't fit on a floppy, so you put it on a zip disk. Anyway, I had these still hanging around in a box somewhere and a non-functioning zip drive. And I said, why do I still have these fucking disks? So one day, I think it was when we lived here, maybe not that long after we moved here, I took the box of zip disks out onto the front step. I took a hammer and I just smashed them because I was afraid somebody out there would have a functioning zip drive and want the archives of my college literary magazine. I don't know. I've done the same thing with hard drives.
You should put them in the water first. Smash them.
Yeah, I don't know. Put them in the water. That's all right. But taking a hammer to something, there's something about taking a hammer to something. And maybe it means I'm kind of a violent person. Maybe it means I should start to jerk off.
Yeah, I think that would be a creative outlet for your anger.
Would be me jerking it.
Yeah. I think that's probably better than smashing things.
Yeah.
Maybe you got a little bit of
pent up.
I think I don't know. This is just quack science because I am not a PhD doctor.
Okay.
If you want to call me Dr. Steve, that's fine. Okay.
See, we have, I like that, right there, title. Like, I just, except that our titles have gotten too long, so that when we go to tweet them, there's no room left to tweet. But if you want to call me Dr. Steve, it's a pretty good episode title. Sorry, go ahead.
So, just interesting side note before I say my thesis or theorem or whatever the fuck you want to call it.
Okay.
I guess my email is like my personal email, so I'm not going to give it out.
Yeah.
My personal email is like one number or letter off from another S. Woodbury.
Okay. It's the doctor?
This person is a doctor, so more specifically a dentist.
Okay.
And so I keep on getting emails every once in a while like, Dr. Woodbury, would you like to give a panel at such and such? And I'm like, yes, I'll be there.
Oh.
I need to talk about new dental blah, 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 whatever. Okay, so my theory is if you get a little bit too much pent up, it goes through your body and up into your brain and makes it so you have bad thoughts. Because you don't want jizz in your brain.
Title.
That's be writing these down.
Well, I listen to the whole thing. That's I go through and I listen for show notes and titles and all that, and that it's kind of therapeutic to go back and be like, hey, we were actually pretty funny this week.
Too bad you won't say that this week.
Well, I mean, once you get past all the stuff about the taxes.
Yeah.
All right. So.
Horribly hot topic.
No. I feel like I do need to admit that at least twice in my life I have jerked off.
Twice,
because anybody who knows that my children were conceived through in vitro fertilization would know that in order for them to be conceived, I needed to jerk off.
Was there so did they have like nudie magazines?
They did. This is a story. I don't know if I've ever told this.
I don't think you have.
At least not here on the show. So I had to go into the same place a couple of different times. So I guess it was more than twice. I'm admitting that.
Yeah.
And
nice.
and I guess I should also admit that the first time in order to gauge whether or not I actually was infertile, I needed to do the deed here at the house. And
so you did do it here, you fucking liar.
All right. So one time, two times, because before both kids, I had to retake the test because somehow I got magically fertile.
You are a piece of shit.
In 4 years. So the whole process is really, I shouldn't say degrading. It's not degrading. It's just funny. In hindsight, it's funny to look at it. So you go to the doctor's office. They have the initial consultation with you to decide whether or not you are, all the other factors that might be playing a role in there. All right, well, we're going to order a sperm analysis. So they give you a little cup. They send you home with it. They say you've got an appointment at 7:30 in the morning on
7:30
because you need to get it there the moment that the lab opens.
Oh,
so you have to at home jerk off.
Well, couldn't you do it in the bathroom at the hospital?
Well, apparently that's not what the hospital wants you to do.
Well, that's bullshit. If they want the freshest sample.
This was Southern New Hampshire Medical. I don't know if Lowell General or any of the other hospitals around here are different, but Southern New Hampshire Medical, you are instructed to jerk off at home and then either, into the cup, and then either hold it under your arm to keep it warm, or wrap it. This is what we did the first time. We wrapped it in a warm towel. So while I was
like when you're at you're at like a sushi place and they bring you a hot towel to wash your hands with.
Yeah,
so you had one of those. Did you heat it up in the microwave?
No, what we did, so
moistened it first.
I was upstairs. I was so humiliated by the whole thing that I asked Stephanie to not be there because she's also not supposed to help you. She could help. The woman could help you manually, but not any other way because if saliva or if vaginal secretions.
I got it,
any
dude.
of that stuff. I'm trying to make the listener.
I'm not
feel
slow.
All right, so
and I don't think anybody that listens is either.
If anything else gets onto it, it makes the sample bad. So okay. I have to do it by myself. I don't want her around.
So you couldn't spit on the back of your hand to get a little.
I could not. No,
it's
all dry.
Yeah,
dry.
Lovely.
So I'm jerking off upstairs into the cup.
The front of your hand, not the back of your hand.
Can you imagine? All right. And she's downstairs putting a towel into the dryer, a clean towel. She put it in the dryer to warm it up. I come down with the cup, put it into put it into it's got a seal on it, a cover on it. Put it in the towel, bring it to the hospital. So that was what happened both times when they were trying to decide, am I really infertile? And yes, I was really mostly infertile. To get to the more interesting part, which is how we got started on all of this, when you finally go to the fertility clinic, you have to, at least with this fertility clinic, go once in advance to provide an emergency sample, so that if you screw up on the day of, they have an emergency sample frozen.
Screw up?
If you jerk off not into the cup, if there's not enough in there, if for whatever reason something goes wrong on the day of the procedure, they can always go to the one that they have frozen as a backup. So you have to go once in and of just by yourself. But then the day that it actually happens, your wife or the woman who is going to let's not be exclusive here, the woman who's going to have the babies, maybe two gay guys, and the woman who's going to have
surrogate,
the baby. Yes,
or if you were a donor, like a friend was like, I want to have a baby. Can I have some of your jizz in a non-sexual way?
In a non-sexual. But in this case, my wife is going in basically to have surgery. She's had a whole bunch of drugs over the past however many weeks to basically make her ovaries go nuts so that she produces a whole bunch of eggs. They are then going to take her into surgery, extract some of those eggs, and then take whatever sample I provide and
put them together
put them together, make the kid. So your wife, I'm gonna say my wife is sitting there. She's having a major procedure, and I am going into a small dark room to whack it.
Was it Tower News in Lowell?
It's not a Tower News in Lowell. Although, wait, that would be breaking. No, I never did that. Never at Tower News at Lowell. So I'm
thinking you jerk off a little bit more than you're admitting. just in public.
So the room that you
go I think there's like a little bit of Stephen Meidel in you.
The room itself. I swear I want to write a story about this someday because the room itself had always made me laugh. There was
funny, you're giggling and jerking.
There was a TV with a DVD player and a couple of DVDs.
Did you have headphones so you didn't have to like?
No, I mean this is like a closed off private room. There are 3 or 4 of them. It's pretty well.
Was there a glory hole at least?
Well, there's not a glory hole, but there is a hole in the wall that you put your cup into.
So yes, is what you're saying.
So you're sitting there. You're in the room. There's the DVDs, stack of magazines. I don't know if it was there the first time, but definitely the second time. When I went in there was a sign above the DVD player that basically said, please don't steal the DVD. You know, other patrons or other whatever word they used, other patients.
Other patients need to have a little inspiration.
Yeah. So they said, please don't steal the DVD. Who goes into the fucking infertility clinic and steals the goddamn DVD? I
don't know. Chris.
I don't.
Do you remember the one did you watch something?
But I got it.
Oh, jeez. Okay. Hold on. Rewind.
Aside from all of that, if you are maybe, I don't know, a good Catholic guy and you've gone through all the turmoil of deciding that you really are willing to spill your seed like Onan.
You're not Catholic.
I'm not saying I am.
Okay.
But I'm saying if you're deeply religious in some way and the pornography is maybe too much for you, there is a very tastefully done portrait of a woman, a painting of a woman with her back to you, not clothed at all except for showing you a little bit of backside, looking over her shoulder at you with a nice inviting gaze. And if you don't want to use the magazines or the video, the DVDs, you can look up at that beautiful portrait. And that's there.
You should have took a picture of that.
I should have taken a picture. Well, I mean, this is before cell phone cameras were prevalent. You know, we got pregnant.
You didn't want to take like jerking off at the fertility clinic selfies.
Yeah, no.
Try to get your.
I'm sure there are guys doing it now.
And your face in.
There are guys doing it now. You know, they're like, hey, this is the moment you were conceived, or sending it to their wife, who's over, passed out, about to have an operation done on her. It was terrible. Like, just knowing that she's in the next room, beyond the glory hole, beyond the because you got the thing in the wall. Yeah. Anyway, knowing that she's over there is bad enough. But the day that we went in for the procedure that eventually resulted in Kaylee, our older daughter, being born, I had a double ear infection. So in addition to my wife having to deal with the fact that my wife is going through this procedure, I had to my ears are swimming.
Did you have cones around your ears?
I did not, but I could. I had
pick at them or something.
I had a
like
splitting
a dog?
headache. I had a splitting headache, and I'm sitting there trying to. I mean, I think the whatever video it was probably helped, but no, I can't remember what the video was.
Was it like? I'm trying to jog your memory. Was it just a normal scene?
I think it was just a normal scene. I don't think they had anything too gonzo in there.
Okay.
I think it was probably was one of those last batch of porn films that claimed to have a plot. Probably had some semblance of a this is why this is happening, as opposed to just cutting to another scene of 2 people in the bedroom about to have sex, which is.
So there wasn't a story.
That I'm saying there might have been a story.
Oh.
It was probably one of the last ones where there was a story. And now if you went in there, who the hell knows? I mean, maybe they don't even have...
How's the smut business, Jackie? All right, so what else we got on the list?
I don't know. Why did we talk about that?
I don't know.
So we dealt with the blizzard.
We did.
It was Valentine's Day yesterday.
It was.
It was Valentine's Day. And you asked me if I did anything beforehand. I did not, because I'm not romantic at all, and my wife should probably leave me.
Well,
But no, because our not our wedding anniversary, but our anniversary that we had before we were married, the day we started going out is always February 16th. So
that's weird that you started dating right after.
Well, it's
Valentine's
not that
Day.
weird. There's a really boring story. Now that I've already told you one boring story, I'm not gonna bore you with this one.
How about next week?
Maybe. Some people like the story, but I feel completely constitutionally incapable of making it interesting right now. Okay. So there is a reason that it was the 16th. It all kind of started on Valentine's Day. But yeah, it is kind of weird that it's not just that we started.
I had an ordeal on Friday. If you want to,
I would love to shut up and listen to.
Okay, cool.
As I sit here and feel self-conscious.
So we, me and my DS, I suppose. We're parting ways, and I was going to get the new 3DS.
3DS, okay.
It just came out on Friday.
Yeah.
So Nintendo loves messing with me, apparently.
Oh, no.
Because, like, the way they... Okay, so it's the same system, basically.
Yeah.
But I wanted to get all the stuff that was on my 3DS XL onto the new 3DS XL.
Right. But this one has a better viewing angle or something for the 3D part, right?
Yeah, the 3D, I actually, like, because when I first got, like, there was games I wanted to play, but I didn't really give many shits about the 3D element. Mm-hmm. What was it? Yeah, so I would hardly ever have it on. You don't have to play with the 3D on. Yeah. But, like, because every time you move your head even slightly...
Yeah, that's what I heard.
But, like, the new one, like, you can move, like, pretty significantly in every direction, and it's still... You can still see it in 3D, which is cool. But, so I had to get a bunch of stuff beforehand.
Yeah.
Because the original 3DS has an SD card. Mm-hmm. For its memory card. The new
is it a
3D,
micro SD?
It's a micro SD.
Jesus Christ.
So
I need all these fucking format change. Anyway, sorry.
But it's like, I'm like, it's the same system. Why couldn't you just stuck with? But like, also the port is. I had to take the back off with the screwdriver to pull the thing off so I could get the SD card out. So basically, I replaced because it comes with a 4 gig one, and I replaced it because I just ended up buying a new micro one. Yeah, and it was 32 gigs, and it's slightly better.
Right, but so it wasn't not meant to be user replaceable, and you just had to hack it. Is that
no? It was supposed to, be, but like they actually it was a video on the Nintendo YouTube channel that showed me how to do all this. Yeah. So basically, I formatted the new one that I just got, and then I basically had to take the old one out and put the contents of one of the folders onto my desktop, and then I had to take that and put it in the new one, and then I had to put that in there, and there was a whole bunch of other stuff with little Pikmin carrying my stuff that was on one of the DSs to the other DS, and
it's so dumb. When everything is digital, when everything is not digital, not when everything is digital, when everything is just stored and you can wirelessly get it from one thing to the next, it's much better. Or with a cable, like even a cable would be good, but having to switch from like a SD to a micro SD to
it was a big pain in my tuchus.
Yes,
but I did, because I went to the mall after work to get it, and I treated myself with a little spicy hamburger at the Red Robin.
Oh, nice!
It was pretty good.
Still never been there.
You ever been to? Do you like hamburgers?
I love hamburgers.
Well, then you should go there.
I would like to go there. And I worked in the mall for a number of years, but I never went over there.
You should. Yeah, one of these days. Take the kids.
Well, we always go out for birthdays, so maybe I'll try to convince Kaylee on her birthday. I think hers is next.
Do either of them like cheeseburgers or anything?
They don't like cheeseburgers. They love hamburgers.
Okay, they just don't want cheese on it?
Yeah, they're weird. Yeah.
But cheese makes it so much better.
Cheese does make it so much better. Melody hates everything except ketchup. All she wants on her hamburgers is ketchup. They used to both like all sorts of stuff on theirs, but now, anyway, kids and eating. So you got your 3DS.
I did play it a little bit, but it was like all the same games that I already had. So I'm like, I just dropped a bunch of money.
But you'll eventually
enjoy Nintendo.
You'll eventually get new games though.
Yeah, and there are I think a couple that are coming out in the near future that are you can only really play on the new one because they need there's like a little nubbin, a little C stick.
See, I haven't had.
I wish I had brought. I mean, it wouldn't have been too much of a problem for me to actually bring it.
Yeah,
but like,
I haven't had a new portable game system since.
I got a 3DS that's available right now.
I also mentioned, I have like $20-something in credit card debt. So no,
I'm not. No.
Anyway, so it's got a little nubbin. I keep stopping.
It's a little nubbin above like the A, B, X, Y buttons, and it's, just so you can, like, if you're playing a game that has a camera, you can use it to do that, and then, in Smash Brothers, you can use it for smashes and whatnot. It's good.
All this would be so much more applicable if I liked to have fun.
Yes. I also got a new game earlier in the week. It came out, I think, on Tuesday, and I do like my One Piece.
Yes.
As I've mentioned several times on the show, it's a free game, or a get game on the I think it's at both iTunes and Android.
Okay.
It's called One Piece Treasure Cruise. And it's basically, you play through the story.
Yeah.
And then it's basically just like you go into battles, and then when you attack, there's like these words that are kind of zooming in on the enemy, and when they're about to hit, or when they're about to hit the center, you hit the next person in your party, and then it'll they'll do like a combo, and then you go through all 6 people, and you get a massive combo, lots of damage and whatever.
Nice.
So it's cool. It's fun, but although there's sometimes like your character will have a little piece of meat next to them. When you do that, there'll be like a meat on the ground, and basically you can eat it to replenish your health. But if you get it perfect, so if you get because if the words are close, you'll get a good. If they're really close, you'll get a great. If they're right on when you're supposed to hit the button, you'll get a perfect. If you get it perfect when there's meat there, it'll launch the meat away, and you won't be able to eat it.
Huh. Okay.
So you want to get a great.
You want to get a great so you can
when
get
there's meat there,
because it's important to eat.
Yes.
Meat is good.
Yeah.
Meat is not murder in the.
I imagine it's still murder.
It is murder. Yeah. I think it was. I'm trying to remember who said that. I think it was.
But the thing is, like, you could say that about anything. Like anything is.
The Smiths. That guy.
But like you could murder plants because they're living, and then you're killing them because they don't have like a brain. I guess
some people say that to beat your meat is murder.
Why do you keep on bringing it back up?
I don't know.
Every time I'm changing the subject, you're like, well, let's talk about jacking it.
I don't know.
All right. So, what else do we got on the list?
We're like all over the place today.
We are a little bit.
Part of it is that I really I still am recovering from not wanting to get out of bed yesterday. And then in terms of me not wanting to get out of bed yesterday, in terms of me just being agitated about stupid things, when you walked in, I mean, you've already talked about the story of when you came, when your side of when you arrived here today. My side of when you arrived here today is that.
When did I talk about my side of when we arrived today?
Didn't you? I thought you talked about
Oh, that cunt.
Yeah. Yes.
I forgot about that fucking cunt.
When you arrived, or when you were in
that was the second time I arrived.
Yes, because you arrived here, and we said maybe you shouldn't stay where you were parked because people in our neighborhood are a little particular about their parking spots. And
well, I didn't want to be a dick.
Yeah.
Like that cunt.
So while you were away, between when you first arrived here and when you came back, I was dealing with one of the most ridiculous things I've done in quite some time, which is that we were cleaning off this bookshelf. The
one that's right behind you right now?
Me. Yeah,
nice.
We were cleaning this off upstairs, and when I was cleaning it off, I found 5 or 6 CD cases that were completely unopened.
Oh.
And these CD cases were all like, like the Time Life things, you'll see that hour-long special about how, it's geared
now I know where that credit card debt happened.
No.
You're just sitting on, with the TV, with the phone, and like, yes, I'd like the entire set. Please send them to me forever.
No, the credit card debt came from other places. But
I'm kidding.
Somehow, we ended up, and maybe we ended up with these CDs, these Time Life CDs, and no, I don't want 2 CDs nuts.
I already told that joke.
You did
once.
already tell that joke.
Right.
They're like the best of like the 50s and 60s, like easy listening, like stuff that your grandma or your like great aunt would listen to. But I saw them and I was like, we paid money. We somehow acquired these. I want my copy of them and I'm going to rip them. And so I started ripping them to iTunes. And around the time that you came back the second time, I was upstairs. I was just trying to basically change the metadata in iTunes so that instead of them showing up as two separate albums, because they were 2 CD sets, that they would show up as one album with 2 discs, which is a really dumb thing to care about. And it didn't work on one of them. And right around the time that you came in, I screamed at my computer.
I heard that.
About ripping CDs that I may never listen to.
2 CDs.
2 CDs. And then right around that time, my mom called because apparently she had been FaceTiming with Kaylee downstairs, and Kaylee hung up on her, and she was trying to get some clarity. And I'm trying to talk with my mom, and somehow we get disconnected. And then the thing I'm dealing with on the computer, stops working again. And I just want.
And then you're I want to throw the bookshelf out the window.
I want to murder everything.
Hey, how about this? And I'm going to bring it back up this time.
Okay.
You have all these problems with your CDs or whatever.
Yeah.
You can just look at your own nuts. Give them a little tickle. And then get something going there.
I don't know.
Dr. Steve.
Dr. Steve.
Actually, no, because there is a guy that used that used to,
Dr. Steve the dentist is saying that
no. But
nuts.
There's a guy that does like medical stuff for Opie and Anthony, or well now Opie and Jim, called Dr. Steve. He does palliative care.
Palliative. Okay.
It's end of life care.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. I didn't know what that meant. Palliative?
Yeah. I thought maybe I'm saying it wrong.
No. You're probably saying it right.
He's just he's a ghoul of a man. Ew. But he's entertaining. He has like, if you're interested in listening to a medical podcast, check it out. It's called Weird Medicine.
Weird Medicine.
And he has a very deep voice.
With Dr. Steve.
Dr. Steve. The real Dr. Steve, not me
Steve,
claiming to be Dr. Steve.
Yeah.
A Dr. Steve.
I'd rather have a Dr. Steve that was telling me that I needed to masturbate more than a Dr. Steve who was trying to prepare me to die because I'm depressed and I weigh too much. That's not my doctor's not Steve, but he might as well be.
Do you have a doctor? Do you?
I still technically have a doctor. I've had to go to the doctor once since we lost insurance for the shingles, which we talked about way back on.
Yes, that was when we first started.
When I saw the doctor for the shingles, it was actually a different doctor, and she was nicer. But my primary care physician, the one who prescribed me the meds that I am now no longer on, the last time I saw him, I went in for a checkup. I probably told this. Yes, I'm sure I've told.
Is this like your talk therapy, like the podcast?
A little bit. Anyway,
I am like, I'll write it down in a notebook next time and pretend to pay attention.
I hate my doctor. I don't want to go back to my doctor. He makes me feel bad about myself, and without probably even meaning to. He seems like a nice enough guy, but the fact that it always comes back to my weight, which I'm particularly sensitive about, and it's one of the things that sends me off the deep end. From
like that Weird Al album.
Yeah, is that deep end?
There was the one that came out with the
Michael Jackson one.
No. That was the Smells Like Teen Spirit one.
Okay.
Smells Like Nirvana.
Smells like Nirvana. Yep.
And it has like, because like the Nirvana album had the baby
with the little penis,
baby penis, and chasing the money, and then Weird Al's is like him in the pool without his penis there, and a donut on the fishing hook.
We should have Weird Al's penis on there. I'm just saying.
I don't think that's good because like Weird Al is
he's a grown man.
Well, and he's a family friendly artist.
Yes. But I'm just saying, like, we can see women's boobs.
Yes, we can, but not in public.
We can see.
Well, in some places you can.
In some places, I mean, you can see women's boobs so clearly that they might as well be fully exposed. In films, you can see the front of a woman, but apparently you cannot see the front of a man without it being like an X-rated movie.
Well, I don't think it's
not that I
X-rated.
want to see a ton of penis.
No. Apparently, you haven't seen a lot of films lately. There's been a lot more dicks in movies that I care to.
50 Shades of Grey. No penis.
What?
As far as I know.
I don't think.
Who's the primary audience for
dripping vaginas?
A lot of my friends,
because that came out yesterday, right?
It did. A lot of or Friday.
Oh yeah, shit.
Yeah, because it's Sunday. Yeah, this weekend. It came out this weekend.
Yeah, well, Valentine's. Everybody take your thing to see this psychopath.
A lot of my female friends were the ones to bring up the fact of how abusive and how I was proud that most of the women that I know were not going to see that crock of shit movie.
I don't understand why so many people I forget who brought it up. It was somebody that I either read or heard somewhere that said if this person was doing the exact same things to this girl and didn't have any money, everybody would think he was a terrible human being.
They would. Absolutely.
But this guy is a rich fucking asshole, and so therefore, he's got this wonderful life for her.
Yeah, I don't understand the popularity of it. Stephanie actually, one of her coworkers let her borrow the book, so it was sitting on her nightstand for a while, and I'm proud. I think she read a chapter, and then eventually it just went back to whoever's it was.
Yeah.
I'm just glad to know that most of the people I know are not falling for that shit. But
there's I remember back when I was doing comedy, the woman that booked me a bunch, Alana Susko, go to see her. She performs in Hudson, New Hampshire, and Nashua, New Hampshire, mostly. So check her out. She's pretty cool. But she also sells sex toys through Athena's, which is
I've heard of.
Yeah, so
that's one of the ones that women get other women together for Yeah. That's
so it's one of those. It's not
she doesn't have a storefront.
Yeah, she does like a Tupperware party.
Right.
Only with dildos.
Title.
I like that one. It's like a Tupperware party only with dildos.
So she does that, and
and there was one show that we did, and I was actually I was pretty honored because I was the only guy asked to perform at the. It was like a comedy show / sex toy party.
Okay.
And yeah, it was pretty interesting.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think because you've seen my act.
I have. Yeah.
And it's pretty dirty. It's a lot. There's a lot of sex stuff, so it kind of worked.
Right.
But it's from a different perspective. So,
absolutely. Yeah.
So there was a lot of female voices, but I like the equal opportunity that I was allotted to be a part of this event. But yeah, I forget what the fuck my point was.
50 Shades of Grey.
Yes, but okay. So there's a lot of people or a lot of stuff that they have in their little booklet.
Yeah.
That's geared towards that. That guy's tie, and then some light. What is it? BDSM.
BDSM. Yeah.
Yeah. And light BDSM stuff in the book, and I'm like, well, it's never been my cup of tea.
Yeah,
a little light spanking is all right,
Right. As I'm not against the. I'm not against anything consensual. People, if it's consensual and people want to do it,
I'm against it. I'm only against consensual sex.
But this film and the book, it just seems like a lot of.
There was another thing in that. I might have brought this up very early on, but that booklet, I remember reading through it of all the sex toy stuff, and there was Monster Begone spray or something like that. Okay. And it was for children.
In the sex toy booklet?
Yes.
Okay.
So basically you're like, my kid won't go to sleep and I want a bone is basically the thing. So it's the spray that is apparently
it's a spray that's actually a dildo?
No, it's not a dildo at all.
It's supposed to be a fleshlight?
It's just a spray.
Okay.
and I guess it's supposed to be like soothing scents, but it's like, but just like, you know, you say it's Monster Be Gone spray or whatever, and you spray it on your kid, and it's basically, you know, a thing that'll make him go to sleep so you can fuck.
Okay, Monster Be Gone.
Yeah, you could probably find it on the website when you're searching out things, but make sure you clear the history there. And be like, trying to.
Stuff would be like, what? Why are you searching for Monster Be Gone? You know, because it's been, we haven't, you know, in a little while.
My voice keeps on going a little bit more high pitched because maybe we can have a little intimate time.
A movie that I am excited to see.
Oh, and not
since we're not excited. I imagine you are not going out to see 50.
I don't know. Like, if I was drunk enough, but I don't know. Like, that would just be a bad combination because I'd be like loudmouth guy because I'd be like, this sucks. I'd be like that guy in the back. Like, I'd have like a lot of angry women like,
that were
just be like, let's kill that guy.
Yeah,
because we've been waiting for this movie forever and.
Yeah.
No, I don't think that. Or this is the second time. I want to make sure I see every moment, and I'm like, fucking what a cunt. I'm using that a lot today.
You are. This week, Sony Pictures and Marvel Studios announced that Spider-Man was going to come to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is big news because back when Marvel Comics was about to go out of business in like 1999, 2000, thereabouts, they were selling off all their rights to all their.
So that's why all those movies started coming in.
That's why.
Okay.
They sold their Spider-Man rights to Sony, and they sold their X-Men rights to Fox, and Daredevil went to Fox, and eventually.
Well, oh well.
Yeah. But anyway,
they should have like gone with like. They should have gone with Daredevil and like where were some like the new what was the New Warriors?
I loved the New Warriors.
Just like kind of throw like shit like that at him.
But they why'd they sell Spider-Man first? Because he was probably the one that got him the most money, and then X-Men probably they sold next because it got him the next biggest amount of money.
And then when they should have started at the bottom, and then they would have their.
But the thing is, when they finally got around to doing their own movies, all they had left was the bottom. They had Iron Man, and everyone's like, Iron Man? You're gonna make a good movie out of Iron Man with fucking stoner, unreliable Robert Downey Jr. And then
that's when he became Mr. Reliable.
Yeah, rest is history. So anyway, Sony has made 5 Spider-Man movies now at this point. And the last one was a complete bomb. Came out last year. It was Amazing Spider-Man 2. So they were looking for some way.
Well, they did the reboot after like Sam Raimi was like, I don't want to do these anymore, and I didn't want to do the third one, so that's why the third one's a piece of shit.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is Marvel has always wanted him back, but of course Sony's not going to give up those rights. So they came, apparently, to sort of a gentleman's agreement. There's no money passing hands. So like Spider-Man as a character is going to show up in one of the of Thor, Iron Man, Avengers kind of movies, and then he'll go over and he'll make his own movie. They'll make his own movie at Sony with the same actor in the same universe, and then whenever Marvel wants him, they just they got to contract with that actor or whatever. But Spider-Man comes on back over to the Marvel movie.
Well, look at that. Look at how people can sometimes be civil.
Well, and I mean it's in their best interest is.
Because, they can make money on both ends.
Because Sony is like, all right, so we connect it with this extensive universe, which seems to not, they haven't had a bomb yet. They haven't had a financial bomb.
The Thor, like the second Thor movie,
it didn't do as much as some of the other ones.
That was nap time for me. Literally, I fell asleep during the movie.
I liked the second Thor movie.
I was like, they were writing on. I remember waking up and they were writing. But I went to the Tingsboro Theater where they have the new reclining seats.
You can fall asleep to any movie in those seats.
I'm really like
those seats are amazing.
I used to have so much trouble falling asleep when I was younger.
Yeah.
Like maybe I was just thinking too much. Oh, I'm so good at it now.
Yeah.
Oh, look. Oh, I'm just like, put up my feet. Oh, I'm like out like a light. Like,
yeah.
I tried last night to actually stay up beyond 10 o'clock just because I'm just an old. I'm like, should I go to bed?
Yeah.
I managed to. I'm good.
So you kind of fell asleep during Thor.
Kind of. I did fall asleep.
Okay. Well, so they haven't had, but financially speaking, it wasn't really a bomb. It wasn't as popular as some of the other ones, but it wasn't a bomb. The closest they probably had to a bomb was the Incredible Hulk, which came out right after Iron Man that same summer, and it wasn't nearly as popular.
Was that the one with Ed Norton?
Yeah, and I dig that one as well, but it probably wasn't as popular. So anyway, so Sony's like, well, we can get on that, and anything that's connected to that seems to do better, and it gives us another fresh start. Now the question is, so Andrew Garfield is not coming back.
But like they were gonna make it a Black Spider-Man. They were gonna have Donald Glover, right?
They were, yeah. That was the rumor going around, and I don't know if that's still the rumor because there is a I don't know if he's 100% black or if he's like black and Spanish, like some sort of combination. There's a kid. God, I'm gonna get it wrong. His last name is Morales. In the current Ultimate Spider-Man book, who took over once Peter Parker died. And so there's people out there...
Peter Parker died?
In Ultimate Spider-Man, which was this alternate universe thing that they started. Again, way back when they were totally out of money, they started a whole line called the Ultimate line, which is where a lot of these movies got their inspiration.
The ones, the Sony ones.
All the Marvel movies, actually, even.
Really?
Kind of the Black Nick Fury... is actually from the Ultimate comic books, where they basically decided we're gonna have a new Nick Fury, and he's gonna look like Sam Jackson.
Oh, I thought they just had Sam Jackson because
he was in those books, and it was Sam Jackson. Whoever was drawing those books was basically drawing Sam Jackson. So when they went there, like,
I've had it with these motherfucking Avengers on this motherfucking flying spaceship.
Did you see Captain America: The Winter Soldier?
I did not.
Okay, there's I don't even want to spoil it for you, but his tombstone. There's a tombstone.
Cheese and pepperoni?
No, not a pizza. There's a tombstone in the movie that has a very fine in joke wink and a nod to something in Sam Jackson's career, and that's all I'll say.
Was it the guy who got eaten by a shark in Deep Blue Sea?
I'm not gonna say anymore. You just gotta watch out for that.
Or is it the guy from Jurassic Park with the cigarette hanging out of his mouth?
No.
Hold on to your butts.
So anyway,
or is it the guy from what was it? Fucking Long Kiss Goodnight.
I haven't seen that one.
Didn't he get blown out the fucking out a fucking window because it was a giant explosion? He was like strapped to a chair and he got blown out.
I don't know.
Watch that fucking movie. That movie's a great movie.
Long Kiss Goodnight. Who else is in that?
Gina Davis.
Okay, yeah, no, I know that's not the one I was thinking of. Something else.
But that is a good fucking movie. That is like one of those just like action movies that you're like, none of this fucking makes sense, but this is awesome. Yeah. It was like if they're like, this is a Bond movie with like a female protagonist, yeah. And then and let's just make it so like everything is just crazy like action and like, you know, there's absolutely no physics that is in any way applicable here.
Speaking of Bond, you know, there's a rumor. Daniel Craig is still Bond, but there was a rumor going around, or maybe I don't know if it was a rumor or if it was just that people wanted this, of a black Bond. So Black Spider-Man's a possibility because there actually is a Black Spider-Man in the comics. When they're making this new Fantastic Four movie.
Is this Marvel again, or is this Sony that's doing it?
No, that's Fox. Fox owns the Fantastic Four. So they're making a Fantastic Four movie where one of them is a black guy. The guy who's playing Johnny Storm is a black guy. No precedent for that in the comics. But, so I guess I'm coming around to... some people out there on the internet I saw wanted Idris Elba, I'm probably saying that wrong, who's the big guy with the sword in the Thor movies. He's probably been in other things.
Okay, I think I know what you're talking about.
The guy who guards the gate or whatever.
You should get Terry Crews.
So some people.
So he can play somebody that's not named Terry for a change.
Somebody apparently wanted Idris Elba to play James Bond, to have sort of a black James Bond.
No, I want Terry Crews. If they're gonna have a black guy, Terry Crews.
Okay. I was just gonna say,
yelling at people with his abs.
Okay.
Do you watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
I don't. No.
It's definitely worth watching. Like, he, of course, is on the show, and he plays a character named Terry.
That always threw
But
me.
he is a funny fucking dude, and like that's like another one of those great like a la Arrested Development ensemble casts of like really people that work really well together.
All together, yeah. Which are my favorite as an actor, as a theater guy. I'm preparing a play to pitch a week. So this comes out on a Monday, and so a week from when this episode comes out, I'm going to the Players Ring to pitch a new play, and I'm always about the ensemble casts. That's what I like. Sure, it's awesome to have somebody who, like Sam Jackson, completely steals the show, but I'd rather have Terry Crews in his ensemble. Brooklyn Nine-Nine, is that what you said?
Yeah, and you've seen Idiocracy, right?
I haven't.
Oh my god!
I know. I need to, but I have not.
Well, I'll just make it work. I'll make it something that we have to talk about.
We have to talk about, so I have
for the show, and
then I'll do it.
Yeah, and then you'll have fun while it's happening.
That just
that's what I need to do. This is how I can get you to have fun. I'll just say we need to talk about it on the show. Do this. So
okay.
Next, download the new One Piece game on your phone and play it, and tell me what you think next week.
Okay, I will try to do that.
Are we close on time?
We are right on time.
All right, cool.
Right on time.
So we want to do the plug stuff.
We should plug some stuff.
Snow. It's all over the place outside.
What's for dinner?
I wouldn't actually eat snow because the way it forms is it's dust particles that are floating through the air, and basically it's the water molecules attach themselves to the dust particle, and then it's microscopic, and then when it's a certain temperature, it freezes, and then it becomes the unique snowflakes that we know so well.
You're a unique snowflake.
Thanks.
I couldn't even get that out right.
You're a
unique snowflake.
Okay, plugs.
You are also at Tuesday IS Loser.
Thank you. And you are at ECC 1977.
I am. Because that's
we did each other's this time.
Old I am. And you can send us email if you have any questions, comments, or concerns to hot@clarkwoods.com. I did look up Hotwoods the other, and it wasn't at all what we were expecting. It was I think it might have been for like a kiln fired wood or something.
That's boring.
It was fucking boring.
Get a better business, Hotwoods.
Yeah.
We should send an email. People keep on sending us orders.
So
maybe we could just get them to listen.
Email us at hot@clarkwoods.com. And show notes for this episode are at clarkwoods.com/hot/29.
All right.
Our podcast is almost 30.
Our podcast is what people say when how old they are when they're lying about their age.
Oh.